Welcome to an introduction to charity finance for small charities, session 1 of the Embrace Finance Academy Foundations Programme. Embrace Finance is a small non-profit working with other small non-profits to build financial resilience by building financial confidence. We provide training, mentoring and resources to make finance simple and accessible. We specialise in small charities with an annual income of up to 500,000. Let's go back to first principles. What do we talk about when we talk about finance? We talk about the fact that we need to keep good records in order for us to be compliant. We talk about the fact that we need to take decisions that are informed by the numbers if we want to keep changing the world. Finance puts order in chaos and finds the rainbows in the rainstorms. We talk about our three jobs. We talk about the recording. We talk about this will tell us what the numbers are. We talk about reporting. This will tell us what the numbers mean. And we talk about decision making. This is when the numbers help us decide what to do. We talk about the fact that we have stakeholders. We have regulators. We also have donors who give on trust to a board of trustees who may be fortunate to delegate to a chief officer who also may be fortunate to delegate to a team. We may also have volunteers, and we all act in service to beneficiaries. There are three regulators: the Charity Commission for England and Wales, the Office of the Scottish Charity Regulator, and the Northern Ireland Charity Commission. We invite you to Google the one relevant to you where you are geographically after this session. We also talk about charity funds, and charity funds lie at the heart of charity accounting. Restricted funds must be used in line with donor intentions. This is often narrower than what we are set up to do. We cannot use restricted funds on anything we do, only on what the donor has intended. Unrestricted funds, on the other hand, can be used for anything that we wish to do, as long as it is within our charitable objects. Designated funds are a type of unrestricted fund that trustees have ring-fenced for a particular purpose. Finally, we talk about trustee finance duties, the need to protect the money, manage payments to trustees, keep good financial records, know the financial position, manage difficulties promptly, and keep the register up to date. And so sometimes finance, we are told, can feel complicated and overwhelming. Happily, it can also be quite simple. We all need a simple finance cycle. It starts with good financial governance. Trustees are required to set a budget. We also want to know when that budget will land in the bank, and so for that we need a cash flow forecast. Once we have banking or any kind of cash activity, we need to have good financial controls in place. As the money goes through the petty cash system and through our banking system, we need to keep a good set of bookkeeping records. Then we might want to compare our budget with our bookkeeping actuals in a monthly management report. At the end of the year, we will need to prepare annual accounts and have them independently verified. At that point, we'll be setting a reserves policy and hopefully a bit of a financial plan. And so it begins again. There are enormous upsides of embracing the finances. This is how it feels when it all feels in order. When we know the money is protected, we are compliant, when we're managing the financial risk as best as we can, and when, despite it all, we are still here for our beneficiaries. We will now consider the key bits of the financial cycle. We all need a budget. This will tell us if we have enough income. The budget is a tool for allocating resources and implementing strategic plans. A good budget will tell us when we've got a problem and give us time to fix it. We start with what we intend to do in the world, work out what resources we will need, then we can cost them, then we can find out where the money will come from, and then we can decide whether we can afford to deliver the plan. It is best done in a conventional template. We want our budget to capture the full cost of each activity, not just the direct cost, but also a fair share of overheads. We want to show the whole organisation on one page, but also broken down for each activity, or in some smaller organisations for each grant. We also want to show any movements in reserves and our unrestricted funds. The budget will tell us how much is coming in and out of our organisation in a financial year, but the cash flow forecast is what tells us when the money is coming in and when it is going out. It is easy to actually set a budget that will turn a surplus and still run out of money. A cash flow forecast is a spreadsheet with a set format in which we predict future cash balances. We do it so that we can make sure we can meet bills as they fall due and that we do not run out of cash. We schedule income and expenditure as we expect them to hit the bank. We then review the closing bank balances and take corrective action when needed. This is an example of an organisation with a budget and a cash flow forecast, and many small organisations will be able to do an awful lot with this one spreadsheet. If we are larger, we will also need more complicated spreadsheets, and we will come to those shortly. When we have any financial transactions, we need a set of financial controls, and this will protect our funds from fraud and misuse. We need a policy which documents our financial controls, and we need to review it annually. We benchmark our financial controls against our charity regulator best practice. So now we have a budget, we know we have sufficient income, we have a cash flow forecast, and we know the money will come in time. What we now need is to keep track of what actually happens. We do that with a good financial recording and reporting system. This will tell us what the numbers are and what they mean. Bookkeeping and accounting is the practice of recording the actual financial transactions of a charity and summarising them into reports. We will probably all need a management report, and we always recommend that we do this monthly. And then at the year end, we will have a trustees annual report and accounts. Management accounts are internal accounts. There is no set format. They really can sometimes be one or two simple spreadsheets. We use them to take management decisions, and we can prepare them either monthly or quarterly. They can work really well if they've got words, pictures, and numbers, but there is always a payoff around time and capacity. Annual accounts are external. They do have a standard format that needs to be followed, and they are for a range of stakeholders. We prepare them annually. They might also include words, pictures, and numbers. And where management accounts are our own compass through the mists ahead, annual accounts are our postcard to the world. A very simple monthly management report may simply be a budget and a cash flow forecast. If we're a little bit bigger, we might, if we're managing a couple of grants, we might want a report that shows our actuals from our bookkeeping system against the budget that we set at the beginning of the year in both our restricted and our unrestricted funds. And if we're bigger still, we might want to zoom out and look at our total restricted actual versus budget and variance, and our unrestricted actual and budget and variance, and maybe even what we expect to be in our restricted and unrestricted funds at year end and possibly the year after. And if we've got our funds brought forward from last year, we can now calculate our funds carried forward to next year and our reserves now and at the end of the year and next year. Of course, the crystal ball gets bigger the further forward we go, but for some larger, more complex organisations with large teams and lots of high fixed costs, this can be an effective way of managing longer term financial risk. Some organisations, small and large, like to have a couple of charts that show key risks. At year end, we use our bookkeeping system to prepare annual accounts. Annual accounts are financial information which is independently scrutinised and then filed with the relevant regulator. They follow a set format which depends on our annual income, our constitution, and the jurisdiction in which we operate. Some of us will be able to prepare receipts and payments accounts. Many smaller charities, which are non-companies, can prepare these very simple accounts which are cash-based. It's a record of what's come in, what's come out. We can often take it from our accounting system, our bookkeeping system, which may be another very simple cash book spreadsheet. and they're very easy to prepare, especially as most of the regulators have templates that we can follow. Larger organisations and those which are companies will need to prepare accruals accounts. These are like cash-based accounts, but they have year-end adjustments which account for different timing considerations and some non-cash transactions. Honestly, these are less simple. They're more difficult to prepare. We always recommend getting a qualified, experienced charity specialist accountant to prepare accruals accounts that follow the charity's statement of recommended practice, also known as the SORP. This is an example set of charity accounts for a smaller charity, which is on the Charity Commission Register for England and Wales. Now we know our financial position, we need a way to manage our financial risks. The key risks are probably common to most of us. We're not a going concern. We can't pay bills as they fall due over the next 12 months. We might run out of cash. We might misuse funds. Over the longer term, we might find that we're not able to fundraise the full amount to cover the full cost, and we can't build reserves. We have no way of maybe generating sufficient unrestricted income. This can threaten our financial viability. We all need a reserves policy. This is a really helpful tool, not only to keep us compliant, but help us manage risk. They help us prepare for the rainy day. Reserves are our rainy day fund. They're the funds that are freely available to us and so only come out of our general unrestricted pot. Trustees are required to have a policy which states the target reserve and why they should be held, the actual reserve, and how to get from A to B. And always refer back to the primary guidance from your relevant regulator when setting a reserves policy. When we can't build reserves, and to be honest, even when we can, but things remain precarious financially, we can still build financial resilience. We need to be familiar with the regulator guidance and what to do if we experience financial difficulties. And in addition to that, we can start to build the resilience of our organisation by looking to the future, preparing for it, responding, and adapting. Financial sustainability is the ability to generate steady income and maybe even surplus income and growth. Financial resilience, however, is different. It is the ability to respond to change. This may mean expansion when things go well financially. It may mean contracting now to expand again later. Financial resilience is the ability to murmurate like starlings, anticipating with forecasts. A simple cash flow forecast can really build resilience. Preparing with a good reserves policy and managing the lack of reserves when we can't. Adapting with scenarios. Maybe we have a best case and a worst case budget. And responding with some key metrics, maybe one or two charts that show us what our reserves should be ideally and where they are, that tell us what our minimum cash requirement would be, and maybe what our future cash balances look like. And this brings us to the financial information that we need. I think it's really helpful to think about financial information in terms of the past, the present, and the future. The trustee's annual report and accounts tells us the past. It's helpful, but it's out of date. The present we can get from our management accounts. That's quite helpful. An actual versus budget report, an up-to-date cash flow forecast will tell us our short-term future as well. In one spreadsheet, we can get our past, our present, and our short-term future. And maybe our longer-term future is simply having a simple finance plan with a good reserves policy. Financial resilience is the ability to expand and contract with intention and control. Growth is fine. It has to be good growth, with infrastructure and reserves keeping pace. Contraction is fine. Contraction is not a failure. It is often the resilient thing to do. We don't always know the finance answer. Few of us come into charities fully formed finance know-it-alls. Most of us don't leave charities as fully formed finance know-it-alls. But I think we can all be more Alice. I think we can all ask finance questions. If you don't know where to start, that's okay. Visit this, the Charity Commission for England and Wales 15 Finance Questions. Maybe download Lloyds Bank Foundation's Guide to Organisation Resilience. We had the privilege of co-developing that in lockdown, and it contains lots of questions that charities can ask themselves to explore their organisational and financial resilience. And New Philanthropy Capital has a little blue book, which is full of excellent ideas for analysing and asking questions about the numbers. Finally, we want to thank you for all you do. Not all heroes wear capes. Some work for small charities. And if you need more finance information, please visit our website. There's lots and lots on there. And why not join our mailing list? We often invite um, our community to free events and update with free resources. Thank you for coming. Goodbye.